Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you're doing well. Welcome to the Horn Broadcasting Channel. Today we talk about US visa restrictions on some of Ethiopians, where the government failed its citizens. For decades, Ethiopia has been viewed as one of Africa's oldest civilizations, a country that proudly resisted colonialism and became the diplomatic capital of Africa by hosting the headquarters of the African Union in Addis Ababa. It is a nation with rich history, ancient traditions, and a deep sense of national pride. Yet today, many Ethiopians find themselves facing a painful reality: increasing restrictions on mobility, growing difficulties in obtaining visas, and heightened scrutiny when attempting to enter countries such as the United States. The issue of US visa restriction affecting some Ethiopians is not merely about paperwork or border control. It raises difficult questions about governance, citizenship, constitutional obligations, and the relationship between a state and its people. Because when citizens increasingly seek opportunities abroad, flee conflict, or become subjects of international migration concerns, one must ask a fundamental philosophical question: has the state fulfilled its obligations to its citizens? Now let's talk about the meaning of citizenship. Citizenship is more than possessing a passport. A passport is simply a document. Citizenship is a social contract. Political philosophers such as John Locke argue that government exists because citizens surrender some of their freedom in exchange for protection, security, and the safeguarding of their rights. Similarly, Jean-Jacques Rousseau wrote that legitimate governments derive their authority from the consent of the governed and are obligated to pursue the common good. When governments fail to provide security, economic opportunity, justice, and equal treatment, that social contract begins to weaken. Citizens begin to look elsewhere. They seek safety elsewhere. They seek dignity elsewhere. They seek opportunity elsewhere. Migration, therefore, often becomes not merely an economic choice, but a political and philosophical statement. People vote with their feet. Let's talk about why are so many Ethiopians leaving. Ethiopia is home to over 100 million people, many of them young, educated, and ambitious. Yet for many years, many Ethiopians have faced enormous challenges. The country has experienced conflict in several regions, political tensions, displacement crisis, high youth unemployment, inflation, and periods of insecurity. Many families have watched their savings lose value due to rising living costs. Young graduates have struggled to find meaningful employment. Thousands have been internally displaced. Others have sought opportunities abroad through legal and irregular migration routes. Some have risked dangerous journeys across deserts and seas. When citizens undertake such risk, it is often an indication that they perceive their future prospects at their home are limited. A government cannot entirely stop migration. No government can. But governments have a responsibility to reduce the desperation that drives citizens into dangerous and uncertain journeys. Let's talk about where the government went wrong. The first failure lies in security. The most basic duty of any state is to protect life and property. Political philosopher Thomas Hobbes argued that the first reason for establishing government is to escape insecurity and violence. When citizens fear conflict, displacement, or instability, confidence in the state weakens. The second failure lies in the economic management. A country with enormous agricultural potential, strategic geographic positioning, and a youthful population should ideally provide pathways for employment and entrepreneurship. When economic opportunities become scarce, migration becomes an attractive alternative. The third failure lies in national unity. A nation divided by ethnic tensions and political mistrust often struggles to present a coherent national vision. Citizens need confidence that regardless of ethnicity, religion, or region, they belong equally to the nation. When that confidence erodes, people increasingly seek opportunities beyond their borders. The fourth failure lies in governance and public trust. Government earns legitimacy when citizens believe constitutions or institutions are fair, accountable, and capable of solving problems. Immigration often increases. Citizens begin to feel that their aspiration cannot be fulfilled at home. Let's talk about understanding the US visa restrictions. Even sovereign state has the legal right to regulate entry into their territory. Under the international law, No country is obligated to admit foreign nationals except under specific legal obligations such as asylum and refugee protections. The United States therefore has the sovereign authority to determine its immigration and visa policies. However, when restrictions affect citizens of a particular country, those restrictions often reflect broader concerns. They may involve migration patterns, security considerations, documentation concerns, overstay, or institutional weaknesses. This becomes painful because ordinary citizens, many of whom have committed no wrongdoing, often bear the consequences. Students, professionals, business people, researchers, and families can all become affected. The issue therefore goes beyond visas. It becomes a question of national reputation. A country's image abroad is often shaped by conditions at home. And that takes us to a point where we are talking about the Ethiopian Constitution and state responsibility. The Constitution of Ethiopia recognizes fundamental rights and freedoms. Among these principles are the protection of human dignity, equality, security, and the rights of citizens. The Constitution also places obligation on the state to promote development and improve the welfare of its people. Constitutions are not merely legal documents, they are promises. They are declarations of what a nation aspires to become. When citizens increasingly seek escape from economic hardship, insecurity, or uncertainty, difficult questions emerge. Has the state adequately protected the constitutional promises? Has it sufficiently addressed the root causes of instability? Has it created conditions in which citizens can thrive? These are not questions of political position or support. They are questions of governance. Let's talk about international law and human mobility. International law recognizes that every person has a right to live in any country, including their own. This principle is found in the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. However, the international law does not guarantee unrestricted entry into a country. States retain control over migration policies. This creates an uncomfortable reality. People may have the right to live, but they do not necessarily have the right to be admitted elsewhere. Therefore, the ultimate solution lies not on demanding that foreign governments open their borders unconditionally. The ultimate solution lies in building societies where citizens do not feel compelled to live in desperation. Let's talk about a philosophical reflection. There is a profound philosophical lesson in this issue. The greatness of a nation is not measured by a number of its people trying to live it, nor is it measured by the number of passports issued. The greatness of a nation is measured by whether its citizens believe their future can be built at home. A strong state creates hope. A weak state exports desperation. A successful government does not force its people to seek dignity elsewhere. It creates conditions where dignity flourishes domestically. Throughout history, migration has often been a mirror. It reflects the strengths and weaknesses of governance. When young professionals, students, entrepreneurs, and workers increasingly seek opportunities abroad, governments should not merely ask why foreign countries impose restrictions, they should also ask why citizens feel compelled to live. In conclusion, the issue of US visa restriction on some of Ethiopians is not simply an immigration story. It is a story about governance, citizenship, constitutional responsibility, and the relationship between a government and its people. The Ethiopian government cannot control the immigration policies of the United States, but it can control many of the conditions that influence migration decisions. It can strengthen security, it can promote economic opportunity, it can foster national unity, it can improve public trust and institutional accountability, because ultimately, the most effective passport is not a document, it is hope. When citizens have hope in the future, they stay, build, invest, and dream. When hope disappears, borders become destinations and migration becomes an escape. The challenge before Ethiopia, therefore, is not merely to respond to visa restrictions. It is to build the condition that makes citizens believe once again that their greatest opportunities lie within their own country. If you've got any contribution, question, or a comment, please do so in the comment section. This is the Horn Broadcasting Channel. Have a good time.